Greetings, everyone. My name is Dr. Chris Lipperini, and I am one of the instructors for counseling skills during this upcoming spring 2017 semester. The other instructor is Dr. Amy Falvo. Dr. Falvo and I have been teaching the course together for a number of years now, and we are very excited to be meeting you at residency in the very near future. But before we get to residency, we wanted to spend some time talking to you a little bit about the course with an overview. I know that some of you have probably already been clicking through the course, trying to get a sense of it. And the purpose of this presentation is to give you a better overview of what to expect. And you may have questions after it, which is great. Please bring them to residency or contact Dr. Falvo or myself if you have questions that need to be answered before we get there. But let's see if I can get started by pulling up this PowerPoint, fingers crossed. Okay, thank you for bearing with me. I've had technical difficulties with this and was a little nervous about trying this now, but okay, looks like I've got something going. Part of being a counselor is flexibility, and I was on the phone with Dr. Falvo talking about my frustrations with Google as they changed the instructions for how to do this. But anyway, we're here. We've got the PowerPoint up, and I'm going to take you through some information about counseling skills so that you can have a strong start to this course as well as the program overall. We will be meeting you officially in January at the residency, but before then we are starting online. So as of this Thursday, we will be getting going online with our first orientation and practice unit. So we'll be taking care of that. And then as you wrap up that first practice week, you'll be getting ready to join us in New Jersey in Florham Park at residency. Residency will account for 10% of your final grade. So obviously it is important to be there. Easiest 10% of your grade you can earn. It's going to feel great to look in your grade book after residency and see that you have 100% and A+ in the course. So please be there. If you have any concerns about any portion of residency of your ability to attend, that needs to be addressed prior to residency with Rosalie Majorella. So I'm sure you've been in touch with her throughout the admissions process and getting going. If there's any issues about your attendance, please contact her in advance. You are expected to be on time to and attend all of our meetings for counseling skills. There are, I think, 4 different times that we'll be meeting across the weekend. During those times, we'll be taking breaks because they are large chunks of time. So we will take times for bathroom breaks, snack breaks. They do serve us snacks right outside the meeting room, which is wonderful. Time for you to check in with family, whether they came with you or you're calling them to check in. We ask that while you're in the room with us, with Dr. Falvo and myself, that you silence all devices. That is our time to be together and to commit to talking about the course and coming together as a team with your peers and your classmates. So we ask that you give us your full attention. In return, we will as well. During those breaks, you will have ample time to touch base with other people. So that will be an expectation we'll go over once we get there, but just a heads up as far as that. Participate. This is really important. Your residency grade, that 10% comes from actually participating, not just sitting in the seat. We want you to ask us questions. Try answering questions that we ask you that you may or may not be sure of the answer to. Just trying is great. It helps us remember you. It certainly helps you by helping the time pass more quickly because you're engaged. And it also helps you become more comfortable with the skills that we're going to be talking about. You have to try them in order to become good at them. There is no way to become a skilled counselor without practicing the skills and making some missteps and feeling uncomfortable and then gaining comfort with them. That is just part of the process. So we really want you to participate. And for some of you, that will be out of your comfort zone to be so visible by doing that or taking risks of speaking in public. And we try to be respectful of that and very supportive and encourage you when you do raise your hand. So know that Dr. Falvo and I are on your side and will encourage you should you raise your hand and want to give something a shot. So we appreciate that, and we are there to support you. By participating is also going to make the taping experience less stressful. And at this point, I should have a screeching of the brakes sound clip to put in. Of people are probably wondering about this taping experience. Yes, during residency, you will be making a very short practice tape of one of the 5 skills that we are going to discuss across the course of the semester. And more on that in just a minute. Okay, so far we've gone through 10% of your grade is showing up at residency and participating. After that, there are the threaded discussions. They are an important part of the course as well. In fact, they comprise the majority of our quote unquote classroom time once we're back home, once everyone is settled in. So every week you're going to get into the rhythm of Seton Hall time in the program. Your weeks start Thursday and go to Wednesday. So you might even for the first couple of weeks want to put that on your calendar as a prompt for yourself that Thursday, just like this Thursday is the opening of the semester, units open on Thursday and they close on Wednesday at midnight or 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So these discussions, which are going to take place every week, are worth 30% of your final grade. So you can see that a good portion of your grade comes from that participation. You're going to get into a rhythm of posting. Each week has the same rhythm, which is by Sunday night, 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it should read, you're going to do your major post. And then between Monday and Wednesday of that week, you're going to post your response posts, a minimum of 3 of those. Okay, so the rhythm again is Sunday night is your major post, and then Monday through Wednesday, at some point in there, you're going to do 3 response posts. You have the unit open on Thursday, so you have from Thursday until Sunday at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to write your major post. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about what should go into those posts. For your major post, you're going to want to make sure that you answer all aspects of the question. If you click through the units, or even if you see in our practice unit this week, we'll be asking you a question. And that question may be one question, or you might notice that there's several parts to the question. You are responsible for answering all aspects of the question. If there are multiple parts, our suggestion to you is to break your response into separate paragraphs or paragraphs with headings to emphasize those different aspects of the question. It makes it easier for you to check off that you've done each part, and for your instructors as readers, it makes us easier to find the information that helps us grade your post. So the organization can be very helpful of doing it that way. Please make sure that you proofread your major post. We suggest that you do your post first in Word or another word processing program, save it, and then copy and paste it over into Blackboard. The reason for this is twofold. First of all, we want to make sure that you maybe are using spell check or Grammarly or both to check your work, even printing it out and looking at it, which is how I best proofread. So you're actually proofreading your work. Okay. And the second is just a technical issue of Blackboard is very reliable, but it's not 100% reliable. And we would hate for you to have drafted a beautiful major post response, spend over an hour working on something, and then there's a glitch when you go to hit submit and you lose that major post and you can't retrieve it. So again, if it's already in Microsoft Word, you can just copy and paste it back in. So please remember to try to work in a word processing program and copy and paste over. With your major post, we expect you to cite the textbook or outside readings to support your points. Also using examples to support your points. With those examples, they're very important because they tell us that you're understanding the material and applying it, not just regurgitating what's in the book. So we really are big on application, making sure you understand the material. Your major post doesn't necessarily need to be long to earn full credit. Initially, students will try to write them like essays with an introductory paragraph and a closing paragraph. That is not necessary. Just get to the point and answer the question. So there's no need for great transitions of an introduction and a closing to the major post. Just answer the question. In fact, Dr. Falvo and I will usually provide feedback the first couple of weeks to students about their posts. And among that feedback is you're working too hard, you're putting too much time into it. So work smart, not too hard, okay? And finally, you need to follow the basics of APA style. For those of you who are not familiar with APA style, and for those of you who might need to brush up on the style, you will see a tab in the course that talks about APA resources. This includes some great tutorials and sites that will help you brush up or learn the basics of APA style. Please also be sure to have the latest edition of the APA publication manual. For your post, when we're talking about APA style, we're mostly talking about using citations when you're citing the text or outside readings. You don't need to worry so much about the formatting because some of that does get lost in Blackboard. So again, it's mostly about using references. And a word about the outside readings, we want you to be using things like journal articles or websites like Counseling Today. We do not want you to be using Wikipedia or somebody's blog. Those are not as quote unquote scholarly. So we really want you to be looking at things like our library. As a student now at Seton Hall, you have access to our library and all the online journal articles and tons of resources, which we can talk more about at residency, but you don't have to leave your home to get them. So take advantage of this great library, really virtual library at your fingertips. Okay. So next, you've done your major post. It's Sunday night. You posted it. You went to bed. You got up, and now it's Monday morning. So between Monday morning and Wednesday night, you need to post 3 response posts at minimum. These posts need to add to the discussion. They can't simply be things like, great idea, John, or that was a good point. They need to add to it. You could say that, but then also say, I thought it was a great point because it reminded me of this, and enhance the discussion. So we want you to be deepening and enhancing the discussion with your posts. You can also, this is another opportunity to bring in those outside resources or examples. Okay, it can be personal examples, professional examples, things in the news. It can also be questions that you want to ask your classmates or that you want to ask your instructors. Usually every unit, Dr. Falvo and I will post a question to you, at least one, to get discussion going. I describe it as kind of an underhand pitch. I'm giving you something to work with in case nothing that you're reading from your classmates is pulling anything out of you, that you can at least respond to one of my questions. But what you are expected to do is read through your peers' major posts and see if there's anything in there that stands out to you and comment on it. That becomes a response post. Your response posts need to be well-timed, meaning across the discussion. You can't just get up on Monday morning, say, all right, I'm going to get my credit for the week and post 3 things within 20 minutes of each other and call it a unit. There's no back and forth to that. There's no communication with your classmates of interaction. That's kind of like a dump and run. So what we're really looking for is for you to be on at least 2 of the 3 days of the discussion so that there can be that exchange back and forth. Meaning between Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, you pick the at minimum 2 days that work best for you, knowing your life and your schedule, and post on those days. And hopefully it goes without saying, but these are original to you, so you're not taking from somebody else and copy and pasting or going online and pulling something and not referencing it. So academic integrity is very important, not just in papers, but also on our discussion boards. You will also have a self-care assignment. When you get home in the coming weeks, your first paper will be a paper that is a reaction to an article, a brief article that we provide, a journal article. This is worth 10% of your grade. And the purpose of this is for us as your instructors to really see that your writing level is where it needs to be and that you have that grasp of APA style that you need at this point in the graduate program. You will be expected to use APA style in all of your courses. So as your first instructors in the first semester of the program, we see one of our responsibilities as making sure you're where you need to be and providing resources if you need some additional support. The instructions for the assignment are going to be provided in Blackboard under the assignment tab. So be sure to check there for all of the directions. And before you submit your paper, look at it again and make sure that you followed all the directions. That is usually one of the areas where students end up losing points on assignments, is just not following the instructions and hitting on everything that they need to. A word about this paper is it's a reaction paper. So this is not a summary of the article. I've read the article now multiple semesters. I know what the article is about. What I want is for you to react to the material. Did you agree with it? Did you not agree with it? Were you angry about it? Did it spark something from your own personal experience you want to share? That is a reaction paper. Please do not provide a summary of the article. If you look in the rubric, we provide with each assignment a rubric of how you're graded. You'll see that you'll take a major hit on your grade if all you do is provide a summary. So it's really important for you to follow the directions and write a reaction paper. Any questions about that? Just get in touch with Dr. Falvo or myself before the paper is due. Or to ask us at residency. We'll be there. So the skills paper is going to be worth 15% of your grade, and that will come later in the semester, and your due date for that will depend upon the skill that you are assigned at residency for your videotape. So we're back to this videotape again, right? Okay, so here's what's going to happen. At residency, we are going to talk about 5 basic counseling skills, and you're going to have time to practice those in the room. You're going to have a partner you're going to pick, or we're going to help you pick your partner, and you're going to practice that skill. Okay, each of the skills. So you're going to get practice with all 5 skills, but you're going to be assigned one of those in particular to practice on a brief videotape about 7-8 minutes long. Okay, that we're going to record, and then we're going to see during the semester. Okay, so you're going to practice a specific skill in that videotape. It's about practicing it. It's not about being perfect. It's not about getting it right. You're going to have some time to just kind of start using it and try it out. So that's what you're going to be doing in your videotape with your partner. Okay. So the week that we're talking about that skill, once we're home, that videotape is going to be shown in the class, and we're going to ask your classmates to give feedback about your use of the skill, both the strengths and areas for growth, maybe what could have been done differently, observations about missed opportunities, those type of things. And you're going to use the basis of that for your paper, your skills paper, talking about your use of that skill. So obviously that week you're going to want to be really active, asking your questions, asking your classmates lots of questions about your use of the skill and about your videotape so that you can write your paper. So you're going to use feedback from your peers as well as your own observations about your video to create this paper. You're going to be talking about your assigned skill, but you're probably going to be using some of those other 4 skills without realizing it, or just because it feels natural as part of a session. We use these skills without even realizing it in our day-to-day lives. So that will come up and be in the paper as well. The full description of the assignment will be under the assignments tab as well. Okay. Next, you're going to have 5 journals due over the course of the semester, and that's worth 10% of your grade. These 5 journals correspond with the 5 skills. So these 5 skills, I think you're getting an idea, are pretty important. Okay, so you're going to these journals are going to have prompts of a question about the skill and about how it applies to your life, and you're going to write just a self-reflective journal about that from your perspective. So it doesn't need references. It doesn't need to be written in a very scholarly tone. Just your impressions. We want you to use full sentences and proper grammar and all of that. But at the same time, kind of just, it's like a conversation between the 2 of us. I will be the only one, or Dr. Falvo will be the only one reading your journal. So it's not broadcast to the whole course. You're submitting that online. There's a journal tab. Okay. And you're doing 5 of those journals, which are then helpful in writing your self-awareness paper. Your self-awareness paper is the final paper of the semester, which is worth 15% of your grade. The instructions will be found under the assignments tab. And it's really pulling together that self-awareness of the journals are going to help you realize why some of those 5 skills come more easily to you than others, and why some of those 5 are a challenge. And you're going to be talking about that in your paper, the self-awareness paper. I think it's the most fun to read, and from student feedback, it's the most fun one to write. That students have commented that doing the journals really helps them organize it and maybe learn a little bit about themselves, so they enjoy it. It's not a difficult paper to write, but there are deductions that occur because students will submit it late or not follow the directions of providing examples, or they just haven't organized the paper well or proofread. So be sure to take care of those areas, and you should be in good shape on this paper. And all of these papers can be written in the first person. You don't need to write "the author thinks that." You can say "I think that." So that's not, sometimes when we think about APA style, we think that it has to be with this author voice, but Dr. Falvo and I are fine with you writing in the first person. And last but not least, over the course of the semester, another five mini assessments that correspond to the 5 skills. Okay, so that is worth the final 10% of your grade. And these mini assessments, and they truly are mini, help us assess if you're understanding the skills and able to apply them. And they actually are kind of fun because you're getting to try out the counseling a little bit again. So for some of these, we'll give you maybe a few sentences that a client has said and ask you to formulate a reflection of feeling based upon that. So you'll be able to take your time, which we don't get to do in the counseling room in a session, to really formulate what you might say back to that client. So very straightforward, very easy. As long as you create what we ask you to create, you will get credit for those assessments. So those are going to correspond to each of the 5 skills, and you can find more information about that in your syllabus. And the assessments themselves will be in each of those 5 units. And you complete them in Blackboard. They'll be graded right there and entered right into the grade book. We wanted to spend a couple minutes talking about not just the content of the course, but really the relationship that takes place in the course that I think is very important, which is between student and instructor. It is a relationship that really matters and can make a course much more enjoyable and a richer experience for both of us. And I think that, one of the things that Dr. Falvo and I have talked about is the mutual respect that has to take place for really this course and the program to be successful. And we pride ourselves on always revisiting this and always making sure that we are doing a good job in this area, which is mutual respect. We respect that you are busy individuals who have committed to a program, and we understand that by committing to this program, you have taken time out of some other area of your life. There has been a sacrifice, whether that is self-care time and free time, whether it's time with your family, whether it's a financial hit that creates stress for you right now. We understand that you're sacrificing in some way to further your education. And we are too. We are putting time into this. So we put in time and we take it seriously. We read your work. We participate in the discussions each week. And we make sure to respond to your questions and your emails. And our time frame is pretty quick as far as turnaround. And we also think it's good for us to respect one another's boundaries. So for us as instructors, I don't check my email on weekends. So ask you to contact me during the week and respect that my weekends are my time with my family, and to kind of cut off work and to have a boundary there, which I've worked really hard over the years to be able to do that. And we respect that, you are making that sacrifice. So we try to make our expectations of you clear from right now at the beginning of the semester in this overview, so you know what's expected of you, that we don't pull any punches with last minute assignments or anything like that. We also try to grade in a timely fashion so that you can see your grade across the semester, and that we can address any difficulties early to help you be successful. And that goes into the next point, which is ongoing communication. That's what really makes students who are having any kind of difficulty, that can make or break the course. And even if you're not having difficulty, but just want a great experience and a sense of a relationship with your instructors, ongoing communication is really important. So if there's ever a concern that transpires, we ask for you to contact us as soon as it does happen, rather than ruminating about it and talking to your friends and family and hypothesizing about what might happen, or catastrophizing and worrying about it, which, I do that enough that I know how that can be. Even as a student, I'm not so far removed that I don't remember how that has felt. So if you are concerned about something, get in touch with us so that we can help you, we can clarify it, and a lot of times alleviate the anxiety and come up with a mutually satisfying solution to problems. That includes if there's an illness or something else that comes up unexpected, and you're concerned about how it might interfere with the program or a certain week in the program, talk to us. I think that we've been really successful in helping students navigate those things. And, we as instructors are not immune to them either. And, I think that makes us more sensitive to the fact that you may encounter them too. And we work really hard to help you through them. So please don't be afraid to get in touch with us. Another thing that we need to talk about is not going MIA. Okay. There can be a tendency when grades aren't where you want them to be, or you've missed a week and felt like you've screwed up and it's there's no way out, to bury your head in the sand and to not respond to calls or emails. I have never seen that go well. I've never seen that actually resolve the problem. It's like a lot of things in life. If you ignore it, it doesn't go away. In fact, it probably just it gets worse, and it becomes an even more feared thing than it needs to be. So just being careful about that and being in touch with us. I have a 5-year-old calling to me. 1 second.
Can I go to the bathroom?
Yes, I'll be done in a minute. See, life happens. I have a 5-year-old who needed to let me know he needed to go to the bathroom. So, with that interruption, I tried to go MIA for 20 to 25 minutes to do this while he was watching TV. So go figure. But anyway, we are human. So please feel that you can talk to us, okay? And finally, direct communication. Students will form Facebook groups to support one another, and that's great. Your relationship with your team, that support can be really a great thing across the time in your program and even beyond. These are friendships that you may continue to have for years to come. I've seen that happen, and it's been great. That's great. What's not great is when you talk with each other about a problem or something you don't understand, but you don't come to us. You just talk amongst yourself for several weeks. And you hypothesize, maybe she means this, or I don't understand this concept, but no one talks to the instructor directly. Nothing gets resolved that way. There was an issue in the previous semester with an assignment that we had where no one understood a term, and everyone was on their discussion board talking about it, but no one approached the instructor, about it, and everyone got it wrong. And then after the fact, one of the students said to me, well, none of us knew what it was. We were talking on a Facebook group about it, but we couldn't figure out what it was. And I said, well, at residency, I talked to you all about it. If you had a question, talk to me directly. So I'm going to emphasize this a lot because it does seem to get lost during the semester. So we'll probably bring it up at residency again. Talk to me directly if there's a problem, rather than you even coming to me and saying, all 12 of us are upset about this assignment and this grade. I want to hear from you directly about your experience. Every single person, if every single person wants to talk to me about that, then that's going to carry more weight than just one person saying, well, we're all upset about it. So please talk to me, and talk to me early if there is a concern. If students had talked to me about not understanding that term, I either would have eliminated it, or I would have put up a video or an email clarifying, so that they would have been able to, earn those points, but I didn't know. So again, please talk to me directly. So in closing, residency is an opportunity to have fun. For some of you, you might be fantasizing about being away from family and being able to sleep in your own bed uninterrupted and not have to make food and somebody make your bed. And that is wonderful. And it can be fun even in our sessions. Dr. Falvo and I like to laugh. You're also going to be meeting one of our colleagues, Professor Calazan, who also teaches skills in some other courses, other semesters. And we have a good time together. And I think you're going to see that, and that we can laugh as we try things out, whether we get it right or not. We're spending a lot of time together, so we want to have fun doing it. Again, don't be afraid to ask questions. You're not going to know everything. And guess what? We're not going to have all the answers. So don't be afraid to ask us. We're continuing to learn all the time too. Something I wish I had learned when I started my master's program was to give myself permission not to be perfect. I thought if I was going to be a good counselor, I had to be a perfect counselor. And that is an impossible bar to ever reach. You're not going to be perfect even after you're doing this for years and years. You'll see in some of our professional videos that there are things we would do differently. You are a beginning counselor. Part of where you need to be is trying things out and fumbling through some things and finding out what comes more easily to you and what you need to work on. So the only way to do that is by trying things out and not being perfect. If you can do that, you're probably going to be more open to feedback and you're going to grow and become a better counselor. So please allow yourself to try things. And again, talk with us, talk with your, talk to the instructors and your classmates. Some of you might be overwhelmed with the idea of meeting all of these new people over the course of the weekend, but keep in mind that, this is an opportunity to try out some different things and maybe take some risks and to meet some people who could be really great supports to you across your programs. So, and also some really interesting and cool people, and we come from all different experiences. So that will be fun too. We're going to be meeting in a great conference center. We're going to be having great food, including snacks outside our meeting room, which is wonderful. We'll walk out and there'll be a new snack buffet. So it's great. Dr. Falvo and I always look forward to it. So we're looking forward to meeting you, sharing some good food, and sharing what we know and hearing about where you're coming from and where you hope to go as well. So we are looking forward to seeing you next week. If you have questions, reach out to us in advance or save them for residency. We're going to have plenty of time to talk about everything, and safe travels, and we will see you online for this practice unit soon. All right, take care.